Kando eases concerns of COVID-19 spread as he briefs Parliament on measures taken to curtail the outbreak.
Attorney General Dr. Dominic Ayine files motion at Accra High Court to dismiss Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu's application to stop her impeachment process.
Also coming up, President John Dramani Mahama urges Ghanaians to hold leaders to the highest standards.
We must hold those in authority, including myself, accountable to the highest standards of integrity and humility.
Coming up in business news, consumers across the country frustrated as data purchase challenges mar new telecom pricing rollout.
And on the international front, Republicans in the United States Senate narrowly passed Donald Trump's mega bill on tax and spending. It is a packed bulletin, and we're always happy to hear from you, so do be a part of the show.
The news now in detail, and the Minister of Health says there is no cause for alarm over the cases of COVID-19 at the University of Ghana. Delivering an urgent statement in Parliament on Tuesday, he assured that the situation is under control with 107 cases confirmed. Meanwhile, management of the University of Ghana, Legon, has affirmed their commitment to collaborate with health authorities to contain the spread of COVID-19 within the university community. This assurance was made when the sector minister was at the university to get first-hand information. A report by Sarah Apenko.
The Minister for Health, Kwabna Minta Akando, was accompanied by officials from the Ghana Health Service as well as the Ministry of Health. He was taken to the university's Health Service Department after a brief meeting with management. The COVID-19 protocols were in strict force. Health workers here were equally fully clad in their PPEs, while the students adhered to the wearing of nose masks. So far, 107 cases from the Omicron variant have been confirmed out of 316 suspected cases, with no deaths nor hospitalization. The health officials handed over some PPEs, including sanitizers and nose masks, to officials at the facility after interacting with them to know their needs.
There's no need to panic. The information we have is that the drastically increased.
Pro Vice Chancellor of the University of Ghana in charge of academic and student affairs, Professor Gordon Awandari, said the cases are gradually declining within their community.
With the Dean of Students, we decided to suspend large social gatherings for the time being. And students are not happy with us, but as management, we need to do what we need to do. In fact, the background of this particular outbreak seems to be one of those artist nights where we think there was some super spreading that took place, and afterwards, that's when we started to see the spike in cases. Thankfully, I think with the steps that we've taken and with the support of the Ghana Health Service, the data that we've seen shows that it seems that the outbreak is slowing down. The rate of positivity is reducing.
The minister assured them of government's commitment to support their efforts at containing the spread.
It's good to hear that the spike has been well contained, and just like you have also mentioned, we all have to bear in mind that COVID is still with us. It's not gone completely, and I can also assure you that neither is our resolve to tackle the COVID is also gone. And so we'll do as much as possible. So what I will want to plead with you is probably to improve upon the collaboration.
The minister also visited the University of Ghana Medical Center, where he was informed that the facility is yet to confirm any COVID-19 case.
Meanwhile, the minister on his visit to the University of Ghana campus gave an assurance that the resurgence of COVID-19 is currently under control, and has also gone on to advise the public not to panic because government has its hands on the situation. According to him, the current Omicron variant detected has treatment and is being managed.
Some 300 suspected cases of COVID-19 have been recorded at the University of Ghana, with 107 confirmed cases, although without hospitalizations or deaths. The health minister attributed this to large gatherings on the university campus where safety protocols were violated. Kwabnaminta Akando stated that the current Omicron variant, which has been recorded on the campus, has treatment and is limited to only the UG campus.
These cases have been traced to a familiar variant, the Omicron subvariant, which we have managed before. It spreads easily, but fortunately, it usually causes mild illness. We found a few key issues that fueled the spread. The biggest factor was a recent hall celebration held in the university. These events brought large crowds together with little use of face masks or distancing. We also noticed a drop in adherence to basic COVID-19 safety protocols and some challenges with contact tracing.
The health minister stated that the Ghana Health Service has been embarking on surveillance even when the virus was downgraded. As such, Ghanaians should not fear.
The Ministry of Health has made sure that our responses is well resourced. PPEs, test kits, and treatment supplies are all in place. Health workers are being supported, and emergency centers like the Ghana Infectious Disease Center are all on standby. This is a localized outbreak, and we are on top of it. There is no need for panic. However, we must remain vigilant and responsible.
In more news tonight, an investigation by TV3 has revealed that food items that come from Etiwa West in the eastern region are filled with dangerous and poisonous metals that cause serious health implications, including brain damage for both children and adults, with children more at risk. A report by Beatrice Edu.
It all starts from here on this farm. Don't be deceived by the lush greenery you see right here, because just some few meters away, you've got holes that have been dug here and illegal mining activities are going on. We want to take some food items to examine them to see or confirm whether or not the proximity of these farms to these galamsey activities cause the chemicals to seep into the raw food items. So let's go. This should be about from here to where the illegal mining activities are. It should be about between 300 and 400 meters. I do have with me right now Professor Benedicta Fosu-Mensah. She's the acting director for the Institute for Environment and Sanitation Studies, and this eco department is under her office, and of course she has a research assistant with her, Amwako Fori. So I can see on your laptop that you have plantain like we brought, cassava, contomere, garden eggs, pepper. Just tell us what you have. I've seen some numbers here.
Okay, all right. So 5 heavy metals were analyzed in the laboratory, and then the food crops that were brought to the laboratory were plantain, cassava, contomere, garden eggs, pepper. So after our analysis and we found the various concentration, we also subjected it to permissible limits or guideline values. And so we chose WHO/FAO, which is the World Health Organization Food and Agriculture Organization limits, as well as EU limits.
The results are shocking. Food items have heavy metals far elevated above what is permitted. causing serious health implications, including brain damage and other related neuro diseases, nervous breakdown, among others, especially in children.
Manganese recorded higher values, and these values were in contumely, they were above 1, and their units for adults were 1.14 and 2.01 respectively. However, for children, it was higher in contumely and garden eggs, and their values are 1.23 and 1.03 respectively. When we did a summation of copper, lead, zinc, manganese, and mercury, all of them were higher than 1. They were in the range of 2 to 4, which means they were higher than 1, which caused some concern. So in summary, manganese and mercury had the highest concentration in all the food substances. So some of the symptoms of taking too much lead in your food sample, it could be exposure to even low levels of lead can cause damage over time, especially in children. The greatest risk is to brain development, where irreversible damage can occur.
Do make a date with us, because details of this report will be revealed on Agenda on TV3 at 9 p.m.
Let's go on to some other stories this evening. And Ghana's annual close fishing season has officially commenced today, with a narrowed scope that exempts artisanal fishers from participation. The enforcement led by the Fisheries Commission applies strictly to industrial and semi-industrial trawlers operating in Ghana's territorial waters. Stanley Niblewu has more on this report.
For the first time in many years, artisanal fishermen along Ghana's coast will continue fishing during the close season, which officially begins today, July 1. The decision to exempt them is part of a new policy approach. Industrial trawlers are required to stay off the seas for the next 2 months, July and August, while semi-industrial vessels will observe the closure throughout the month of July.
We expect that by the end of these 2 months, the ecosystem would have improved, the fishes would have spawned, and then the juveniles would have been given an opportunity to grow.
Already, landing beach committees, fisher groups and law enforcement agencies in the fisheries co-management chain have been activated to support in enforcement of the ban. One of the areas under focus this season is Cape 3 Points in the western region, identified as a critical spawning ground for several species. Scientists believe that uninterrupted spawning in such areas could lead to long-term gains for Ghana's marine ecosystem, but artisanal fishermen often defy enforcement directives. National Coordinator in charge of Fisheries Enforcement, Commodore Faustina Boachi Anoche, justified why the peripheries of the oil rigs at Cape 3 Points must remain a no-fishing zone.
It's very, very dangerous for them to be around that area. But because the light of the plants attract the fish, of course, they want to see where they can have a big catch. So they go there at the peril of their lives. So the Navy is doing a lot there to ensure that they ward off those people.
But many artisanal fishers remain skeptical. Though they welcome the exclusion from this year's ban, some argue that previous close seasons did not yield the promised results.
It is the timing, because we saw that May, June is not helping, and July also have so many setbacks. So most of the artisanals are suggesting that if it will go on, let's try August, because we've tried July on 4 consecutive occasions. So let's try August and see. But fortunately, we are not observing the close season this year, 2025.
The Fisheries Commission says it will strictly enforce the closure rules. Officials will patrol key fishing zones to ensure industrial vessels remain grounded.
The local police at various landing beaches or any town that has a police, they are also supposed to support, because these are against the law, whether it happens at sea or on land. And so the police have also been written to.
The outcome of this year's close season will be closely monitored, and the data collected is expected to influence future policy direction, potentially changing the way Ghana manages its marine resources in years to come. The 2025 close fishing season represents a critical moment for Ghana's fisheries sector. a delicate balance between scientific evidence and the lived realities of coastal fishing communities. Stanley Nibleu, TV3 News, Accra.
Ghanaian consumers are bracing themselves for a rise in electricity bills following the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission's announcement of a 2.45% increase in tariffs effective today, July 1. This has sparked a mix of concerns and reactions as some consumers are worried about the direct impact on their expenses.
If we are paying and we are getting the service well, fine. You know, ECG has a lot of debt on them. So if they will increase for that money to come and to support them to clear those debts, fine, Ghanaians, we are cool with it.
The government is doing good with the increment because we are in a system where all the taxes have been removed from a lot of places that our former president did. So that's where we're going to generate funds from to help to develop the country.
I think it's a good initiative. Even though we are living in a time of uncertainty, this levy should not affect us in any way.
And yeah, at the 2% into me and say, also the D levy.
The energy sector levy was briefly suspended after we lamented about it. If its intended purpose is to solve the energy sector debt, we welcome it. However, the government should also focus on improving service quality. Electricity tariffs keep increasing. My usual 100 cedis prepaid couldn't last for more than 2 weeks.
Let's shift our attention to the courts now because the Attorney General, Dr. Dominic Ayine, has filed a motion at the Accra High Court praying for the dismissal of a case filed by the suspended Chief Justice Gertrude Esaba-Tokonum. According to the court documents filed on Tuesday by Deputy Attorney General Dr. Justice Sremsai, the issues raised by the Chief Justice in her application have been addressed or remain pending at the Supreme Court. The embattled Chief Justice in the past few weeks have been attempting to get the Apex Court to halt processes for her removal, but has failed. Here are the cases listed by the Attorney General as those already dealt with by the Supreme Court or pending before it. So Her Ladyship Justice Gertrude Esaba-Tokonum versus the Attorney General and 5 others, and the suit number you can see on your screen there as well. Then there's a Center for Citizens Constitutional Electoral Systems versus the Attorney General, 2 and other cases as well. Vincent Ekosifwa versus the Attorney General. The suit number is on your screen as well. So it goes on to mention Ebenezer Osei Wusu versus the Attorney General and Theodore Kofiata Korte versus the Attorney General. So all these cases are part of the ones that have issues to that bother on the case of the suspended Chief Justice, where we are awaiting to see how all of this will play out in the coming days.
Now to the National Prayer Day, and President John Mahama has urged Ghanaians to hold its leaders to the highest standards. He made the comment at the National Prayer and Thanksgiving service where thousands of Ghanaians gathered to seek God's guidance and express gratitude for the nation's peace and stability. A report by Judith Brown.
I come under the auspices of the Holy Spirit by lifting prayer and intercession.
A solemn moment it was for many Ghanaians who had gathered together at the forecourt of the State House in Thanksgiving. This would be the first time Ghanaians were offered the opportunity by the President himself to pray together in solidarity as a nation. Faithful prayed and sang as they reflected on the nation's journey while seeking divine guidance. Republic Day prior to this was celebrated as a holiday. Delivering his sermon, His Eminence Cardinal Peter Turkson emphasized the importance of solidarity and moral purpose.
The wealth of this land with everything that exists here are for Ghanaians. So they also must serve the common needs and the common purpose of all of us. And this just means that it's a situation in which we will not or cannot allow individual interests and individual gains to cause negative externalities for all of us. The transformation of this land will not simply be the task of the president, with all the good intentions that he may have. The transformation of this land depends on us. We have been presented as not to be only religious, but to be people of also spirituality and virtue.
For President John Dramani Mahama, he expressed gratitude to God for the peace that Ghana enjoys despite conflicts and disasters in other parts of the world. He called on Ghanaians to eschew divisions and work towards national harmony and development.
Let us remain vigilant against the voices of tribalism, against the voices of religious extremism, and against the poison of political hostility. These are the seeds of division that we must never let take root in our precious nation, Ghana. We must speak a language of peace, compassion, and mutual respect. We must hold those in authority, including myself, accountable to the highest standards of integrity and humility. Public office is not a privilege for personal gain. It is a sacred trust bestowed by the people.
The atmosphere then turned joyful when the choir was introduced. The event was a testament of the power of faith and unity in bringing people together. As the crowd dispersed, they carried with them a renewed sense of purpose and commitment to building a better future for Ghana. Judith Brown, TV3 News.
So it wasn't just the Christian community in Ghana that observed the day. The Muslim community were also excited to celebrate this auspicious day. Now, President John Mahama also called on Ghanaians to express their thankfulness to God through personal and public accountability, cautioning that the country's peace should not be taken for granted. He made the call during the Muslim service of the National Day of Prayer and Thanksgiving at the National Mosque.
Moments after leaving the State House where the Christian prayer was said for the nation and its executive at the National Thanksgiving, the president arrived at a gathering of Muslim clerics, government officials, Zongo leaders and members of the wider Islamic community. The president said the day was not a political event but a spiritual opportunity for reflection and renewal.
So let us ask each other and ask ourselves, are we building or destroying? Are we healing or dividing? Are we lifting others or seeking only our personal gain? Slogans or speeches will not shape the future of Ghana, but by the values that we live, the choices that we make, and the faith that we practice in our homes, in our businesses, in our politics, and in our daily interactions with each other.
Yet Ghanaians to look beyond partisan and ethnic divisions, stating that true thankfulness must be reflected in one's conduct.
Leadership is not a privilege to be enjoyed, but it is a sacred trust to be fulfilled. And that is why, under my leadership, I remain committed to building a Ghana where no one is above the law. Institutions function with integrity, justice is not reserved for only the powerful, and public resources benefit all of us and not a few people.
He warned that Ghana's peace, particularly its religious harmony, should never be seen as permanent or automatic, affirming that unity is not sustained by politics or government policy alone, but by divine mercy, but also the daily choices of citizens to live peacefully with one another. The chief imam, after the prayers for the country and the president, says Allah's blessing was upon the country and praises should always go to him.
In more news tonight, 2 persons are currently in the custody of the Dodua police for allegedly attempting to murder a 41-year-old cattle farmer. The victim, Asiedu Amadou, sustained multiple gunshot wounds and is currently at risk of losing one of his eyes.
On June 28, 2025, a herdsman identified as Rahman reportedly asked Asiedu Amadu to accompany him on a motorbike to Kodiabe, a suburb of Dodowa in the Shao-Sudoku district, to visit a friend. According to police extracts, upon reaching Kodiabe, Rahman placed a call and later informed Asiedu that the person they came to see was unavailable, prompting their return. However, during the journey back, Rahman, who was riding pillion, allegedly shot Asiedu in the spine, causing him to lose control of the motorbike. Both men fell to the ground. The report further revealed that Rahman then shot the victim in the eye. Two accomplices later arrived at the scene on another motorbike and joined in the assault. They abandoned the victim in a nearby bush, leaving him in a pool of blood, and made away with his Samsung A05 phone and cash amounting to 30,000 cedis. Good Samaritans later rushed the injured man to the Ridge Hospital, where he is scheduled to undergo surgery to remove bullet pellets discharged into his body. Asiedu Amadu later informed the police CID investigators that another cattle farmer in the area, identified as Nicholas, allegedly contracted the attackers. He claimed Nicholas has previously accused him of stealing 15 of his cattle. A community-led manhunt led to the arrest of both Rahman and Nicholas, who are now in the custody of Dodowa police, assisting with investigations. Stanley Niblo, TV3 News, Accra.
The Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS Commission, is calling for restraint and peaceful dialogue amidst an escalating civil unrest in the West African country of Togo. In a brief statement, the Commission said it had followed with concern the recent social demonstrations in certain towns in Togo, particularly in Lomé, which have had regrettable human and material consequences. The ECOWAS Commission, while appealing for calm, stressed that it was open to contributing to efforts to preserve social peace in the Togolese Republic. Experts are warning that a prolonged instability in Togo could further worsen Ghana's inflation outlook, particularly as imported consumer goods from Togo form part of urban market supplies.
Now, Ghana will play host to the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi in a two-day state visit from Wednesday, July 2, described as historic by Foreign Minister Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa. Mr. Modi is leading a high-powered delegation of government officials and businessmen with the aim of signing bilateral agreements with their Ghanaian counterparts to boost trade between the two countries.
We feel very honored indeed that Prime Minister Modi chose Ghana as the first country to visit on this five-nation tour as he heads to the next BRICS summit.
The visit by the Indian Prime Minister has been described as historic by the Foreign Affairs Minister, and this is for a number of reasons, including the fact that this is the first time in 30 years that the Prime Minister of the world's most populous nation is visiting Ghana. Ghana has had strong bilateral relations with India, and for which reason Ghana has had a number of benefits, which the minister has been outlining.
India has, over the decades, proven to be a very trusted friend. When Ghana attained our jubilee, Ghana at 50, we recall that India offered to reconstruct the seat of government. And so the current seat of government, where the presidency operates from, was a goodwill gesture from the government and people of India. Our foreign ministry, this ministry, when we decided to establish for the first time in our history a Foreign Service Institute, again, India came to our rescue, and India offered us a grant in the establishment of the Foreign Service Institute, the first of its kind in West Africa.
Key on the itinerary of the Indian Prime Minister will be his address to Ghana's parliament, and also the fact that he will be awarded with Ghana's highest medal, which has been given to just a few international world leaders who have visited the country.
He will be hosted in the evening by President Mahama to a state banquet in his honor. And at that state banquet, the President of the Republic of Ghana has decided to confer on Prime Minister Modi our highest national award, the Companion of the Order of the Star of Ghana. That we conferred on Prime Minister Modi as part of this two-day visit.
Still watching News 360 on TV3. Stay with us. We have business, sports, and entertainment all coming up. Welcome back to News 360 on TV3, and Michael Lugodu is with us. Hello, Michael.
Hi, people.
So yesterday we anticipated what was going to be rolling out today.
Exactly.
Is it all of it or some?
Well, all of them have taken flight, at least to the best of our knowledge. However, there have been some challenges with particular one, the data issue.
The data issue.
Yeah.
So we realized that the comms minister, that is Sam George, will be addressing the media tomorrow, hopefully on the same issues, right?
We want to hear updates.
Okay.
All right, then to the details now. Hello there, good evening. Welcome to the business segment here on News 360. I am Michael Obodu. Now, some Ghanaians have faced difficulties purchasing mobile data today, sparking frustration across parts of the country. The disruption coincides with the rollout of the government-mandated policy requiring telecom companies to increase data bundle allocations, offering between 10 and 15% more data at existing prices. The new pricing structure, which took effect on Tuesday, July 1, 2025, forms part of a wider national initiative to make internet access more affordable and inclusive, but the much anticipated rollout has not gone smoothly.
The morning I couldn't, but I've not tried again as we are speaking now.
Even if my mindset is not because you have increased the packages, so I'm going to buy data. I just don't have data on my phone and I want to purchase data. And because you are seeing the same improvement, I cannot purchase data. It affects me as well and my work.
Social media was flooded with complaints throughout the day. Some telecom providers have acknowledged the technical issues and say they are working to resolve them.
I'm hoping they can work faster on that. We can't give them a timeline, but they have to try their best so network goes on seamlessly.
Consumers say while they welcome the added data value, they expect a corresponding improvement in service quality.
As the minister said, they are going to increase the bundle, so we are expecting them to do better and then improve upon their services.
Now, the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, has cautioned the public against engaging with unlicensed entities promoting fraudulent investment products on social media. SEC has identified 2 specific entities actively advertising illicit schemes. These are News360, which is promoting an unlicensed investment product named Gold AI Rise Platform, and Ghana News Advertising, an unnamed unlicensed investment product that promises unrealistic returns with no apparent risk to investors. The Commission stressed that none of these entities possess the requisite license to conduct capital market activities in Ghana as mandated by Section 3 of the Securities Industry Act, and strongly advises to exercise extreme caution and refrain from investing in any products offered by these unlicensed entities. We'll bring you more stories now. And the board and management of the Ghana Interbank Payment and Settlement System Limited, GIPS, have announced the retirement of Chief Executive Officer Asiedu-Dartey effective Tuesday, July 1, 2025, marking the end of nearly 2 decades of transformative leadership in Ghana's financial technology space. Asiedu-Dartey, who joined GIPS in 2007 as General Manager in charge of Projects and Business Development, is widely credited with spearheading innovations that have defined Ghana's modern payment systems architecture. Among his early achievements was the rollout of the National Biometric Smart Card Banking and Payment System, popularly known as eSwitch. The platform became instrumental in supporting governments to person payments, particularly for social protection programs. Now, in a move to boost Ghana's renewable energy drive and help businesses and households cut down their energy costs, Ecobank Ghana has launched the Accelerating Solar Action Program. The initiative aims to make solar energy more accessible to micro, small and medium enterprises as well as households through affordable financing.
On behalf of Ecobank Ghana and all our partners, we declare ASAP officially launched.
The successful launch of the Accelerating Solar Action Program, ASAP, marks a significant step towards expanding renewable energy in Ghana. Ecobank Ghana PLC, through ASAP, is tackling the financial barriers that prevent MSMEs and households from adopting solar power while boosting Ghana's renewable energy capacity.
This initiative tackles the real barriers to clean energy access, high upfront costs, limited financing options, and low end user awareness. Beyond affordable loans to beneficiaries, ASAP will build vendor capacity, strengthen institutional frameworks, and create nearly 1,800 green jobs along the solar PV value chain.
The event brought together partners, including the Green Climate Fund, the Government of Ghana, and other key stakeholders. The focal person for the Green Climate Fund also shed light on the loan structure and its expected benefits.
It's coming at a low cost, and it's a blended mix of our pricing in Ghana and also the subsidized funding provided by GCF. That gives us that rate of 15% for all ordinary borrowers and then also 14% for the Elevate customers. Indeed, this is also going to help us working with the NDA, that's the Ministry of Finance, to be able to roll out their programs, for energy saving and also making an impact to climate change.
An open market on the EcoBank premises allowed participants to connect with solar energy vendors and learn more about the solutions available through ASAP. EcoBank Ghana hopes to accelerate the country's shift towards cleaner, more sustainable energy for all.
We'll turn our attention now to the currency and commodities market and bring you updates. And that'll be all for the business segment here on News 360. I am Michael Obodu. Up next, the sports.
Sports segment is brought to you by Sasso Insecticide Spray and Coil.
Hello, good evening and welcome to the sports segment here on News 360 with me, Oreku Ampofo. The Women's Africa Cup of Nations will begin in 4 days' time in Morocco, with Ghana's Black Queens set to take on defending champion South Africa in their opening game of the competition on July 7. The Black Queens will be marking a return to the continental stage for the first time since 2018. My colleague Akosia J assesses Ghana's chances as the tournament draws near.
So Coach Kimlas Bioke-Green has released the squad for the 2024 Women's Africa Cup of Nations. The team have been drawn in Group C alongside Mali, Tanzania and South Africa. Our first game, or the Black Queens' first game, will be against South Africa in Ujda. But when you look at this particular game, we know we're going to be playing against a very robust South African side who are sharp in attack, very compact in midfield and defense as well. And it's going to be a very, very difficult game for the Black Queens, knowing that the South Africans, or the Banyana of South Africa, are the defending champions. Even without their electric and robust player, Thembi Kaklana, they still have a pool of talent to come in and play a very, very tough game against Kimlas Bioke-Green's side. Then we will play against Mali as well as Tanzania. Against Mali, it's almost as if a game of equals. They are also making a return to the tournament at Amisen, the 2022 edition. And so it's also going to be very difficult. Another West African side, but hopefully the Black Queens are able to pick up the lessons they have garnered from all the friendlies they have played to be able to play in the games. Then finally we play against Tanzania. Tanzania are a youthful side, very sharp, and so it will also be another difficult game for the Black Queens. But then a possible best performance for them will be at least finishing outside of the groups or making it into the knockout stage.
And so we'll continue to bring you updates as the competition gets ever closer. However, let's now move to men's football, where Ghana forward Antoine Semenyo has committed his future to Bournemouth after penning a long-term deal which keeps him at the club until 2030. Semenyo joined the Cherries from Bristol City for a fee around 10 million euros in 2023, and since then the 25-year-old has impressed immensely for Bournemouth, scoring 11 goals in the Premier League last season. The extension of his stay with the Cherries puts an end to speculation about the Ghanaian's future. The Ghanaian had been heavily linked with a number of Premier League sides, including Liverpool, Manchester United, Chelsea, Arsenal, Tottenham and Newcastle. Let's take a look at why Bournemouth are extending Semenyo's contract until he's played 89 games so far for the Cherries, and he has 22 goals and 10 assists in 2.5 seasons. Well, we still stay in the English Premier League, and that's because Arsenal have completed a deal to sign Chelsea goalkeeper Kepa Arrizabalaga, triggering the £5 million release clause in his contract. Kepa, who spent last season on loan at Bournemouth, has signed a 3-year deal at the Emirates and will bring experience cover for international teammate David Raya. Arsenal, understood to have been impressed by Kepa's desire to join the club and fight for his place in the team, saw them bring the former Chelsea goalkeeper to the team for the new season. Well, that's how we wrap up the sports segment here on News 360. My name is Oreku Ampofo.
Entertainment news segment is brought to you by GTP Lifestyle and Napa Foods. Heaven Black Insecticide Spray and Coil. Powered by 3 Entertainment.
Tonight in this segment, we bring you tidbits from the world of entertainment.
You're wearing African print. That's nice. You're giving something to the seamstress or the tailor who made it.
Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts Minister Ablajifa Gomashi has encouraged Ghanaians to prioritize wearing made-in-Ghana clothing to boost the fashion industry and create more employment opportunities for local fashion designers. The call to wear made in Ghana clothing is a strategic move to revitalize the fashion industry, which has the potential to be a significant contributor to the Ghanaian economy.
We've got to be deliberate about the choices that we make in this country. You can't love someone else's country and wear their clothes for 4 days and wear yours for 1 day. Flip it. Wear the Ghanaian clothes for 4 days, Ghana. Wear Ghanaian clothes for 4 days and then wear European clothes or whichever country it is for 1 day. That way, we share the resource that's here and the money stays in our country.
The minister added that wearing locally produced textiles is a positive step in fostering national pride and identity.
Rockstar, rockstar.
Ghanaian hitmaker and music producer Kwame Eugene has described singer and global music sensation Amare as a long-standing talent who is only now getting the mainstream recognition she has always deserved. Speaking about Ghanaian stars making waves globally, Kwame Eugene did not hold back on his admiration for Amare, whom he calls his big sister. Rockstar, as he is affectionately called, explained that Amare's music has always resonated within niche circles, especially among alternative and global listeners, which made her less visible to the mainstream Ghanaian audience for years. People she used to appeal to is not the regular Ghanaian masses. She's been making waves since. It's just quite sad that people are now getting to know Amare, but I'm excited they are getting to know Amare now because the talent she has is insane.
Me and my guys pull up in a drop top.
Time now for international news.
The Congolese government says it has targeted an aircraft which rebels claim was delivering food aid before it was blown up in the district of Nimemwe, close to the country's borders with Rwanda and Burundi. It is the latest violent incident in the region since a ceasefire deal was signed in Washington last Friday. The army claims it tracks the plane using radar, found it had entered Congolese airspace without legal permission and bore no identification number, giving the force no choice but to take appropriate measures. But rebels allied to the M23 group, which has seized large parts of Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo this year, disputes this. After hours of stalemates, Republicans in the U.S. Senate have now really passed Donald Trump's mega bill on tax and spending, meaning the proposed legislation has cleared one of its key hurdles. The One Big Beautiful Bill Act passed with Vice President J.D. Vance casting a tie-breaking vote after more than 24 hours of debates. It now heads back to the House or lower chamber, where it still faces more opposition. An earlier version was cleared by House Republicans by a single vote margin. Trump had given the Republican-controlled Congress a deadline of 4 July to send him a final version of the bill to sign into law.
That's it for our package this evening. Thank you so much for watching. Remember that at 9 p.m. Agenda will be coming on your screens where they delve into matters about the food we eat from Galamsey areas or sites around the country. So do make a date. It's at 9 p.m. on TV3. I am Martin Asiedu-Dartey.
And I am Portia. Gabor. Do join Alfredo Concert at 10 p.m. for Ghana Tonight. Good evening.